Welcome to the PR Maven podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. Stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. Welcome, PR Maven Nation, to this week's episode, one of our mini episodes, a quick and informative look at what business professionals can learn from Queen Elizabeth II. The podcast is presented by Marshall Communications, creator of the 65-step Marshall Plan process. For more information, visit marshallpr.com, and on the website under PR Maven, you will also find information about my two books, PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand. This week, I will be sharing my Forbes Agency Council article entitled 10 Things Business Professionals Can Learn from Queen Elizabeth II. So let's dive right in. It's been a few months since the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, but the loss still hurts. Many of us were saddened to hear the news, and it still makes me sad today. In 2011, my agency was chosen to promote and publicize the royal memorabilia across North America for the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton, one of the great honors of my entire career. So we know a thing or two about the royal family. The Queen lived a long life. She lived a good life, and she left the world in a much better place than she found it. Over the decades, the Queen also taught us many valuable lessons. She reigned for 70 years, after all. Here are 10 things that professionals can learn from her 7-decade reign. Consistency is reassuring. People want a leader like the Queen who is consistent in how they comport themselves and take a stand on tough issues. When adversity hits, leaders need to stay calm, cool, and collected, empowering their followers with confidence rather than making them anxious or fearful. 2, preparation should be prioritized. Preparation prevents poor performance. It also allows you to serve others more effectively, whether it's your employees, co-workers, or a country writ large. To quote the Queen, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service." That's my best Queen voice, by the way. Number 3, it's all right to be silly once in a while. Life is serious business, especially if you're the Queen, and work is one of its most serious components. But you have to find time to have fun. Retain your inner child. There's a reason why the Queen enjoyed drinking tea with Paddington Bear or performing stunts with James Bond. She was silly too. Next, show up and wave to the people. Throughout her life, the Queen was extremely accessible. People saw a lot of her, and that made her more popular. Employers and bosses should adopt the same approach, interacting with their workers instead of closing themselves off. Employees appreciate it when they can speak to their boss every so often. So be a man or woman of the people. 5th, write letters and send them in the mail. And this is something I feel really strongly about. The Queen was famous for her written correspondence, writing letters to celebrities and everyday people alike. It's a much deeper and warmer way to interact with people who are important to you than texting or emailing. If anything, sending letters in the mail stands out even more in today's digital world, showing people just how much you care. Number 6, family is everything, but every family has issues. It's challenging to be successful at work if your personal life is in disrepair. Stability at home makes your professional life more stable too. The Queen obviously had issues with her children and grandchildren like we all do, but she remained in charge to the end. We are all flawed, but never forget the importance of family. Next, it helps to have a right-hand man or woman. Prince Philip stood by the Queen's side throughout their marriage, providing her with a steady hand at home. Like family in general, that sort of a loving relationship is very important. It makes work just a bit less challenging since you have someone to lean on in times of personal or professional crisis. Hobbies are healthy. The Queen famously enjoyed corgis, horse racing, and walkabouts. Activities like that are healthy parts of a fulfilling life since they keep you occupied and push you to strive for more. Perfecting a hobby and improving yourself go hand in hand. Skiing is one of my favorites, contributing positively to my mental and physical health. Plus, of course, the après ski. Next, know how to serve tea. As my late mom, who passed away in June, always said, we all need to know how to make a proper tea. When a visitor comes to your home or office, it's helpful to know how to perfectly host them, whether it's sharing a cuppa or a glass of red wine. Accompany the drinks with festive dishes and trays of food. My mother always tried to make those trays look attractive too. Hosting encourages you to treat others like you want to be treated. Finally, stick with it even when it's hard. As the longest reigning British monarch in history, the Queen stuck with her job through thick and thin. She was always there, persevering and fighting on. It may have looked easy because she was a royal, but everyone was always looking at her, commenting on her family, and judging the royals in one way or another. That takes a toll, but the Queen always handled herself with grace and humility, and I admired her for that. May she rest in peace forever and always. I hope you enjoyed this episode, however bittersweet it was. Don't forget to get a free PR Maven Things to Do pad by leaving a review and subscribing to the PR Maven podcast on your favorite podcast player. Then visit prmaven.com/giveaway and submit your information so we can send you a to-do pad. Now here is my friend Mike Duguay to share how my two books, PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, have helped him.
After reading PR Works, I really started to think about how marketing actually works. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but what I realized is that each platform nowadays that we use out there in digital media and social media has its own nuance and also quirks to it. And understanding how they're used is exceedingly important. Because when you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. And you can't approach it that way in marketing. And that's where I think Nancy's brilliance really shined in PR Works. I think Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand is really sort of the manifesto of understanding that there's many different levels to marketing. It's on your personal side of your brand, how actually you express yourself through business, but also what people hear you saying and what they see out there in the public eye as well. So I think what's really important there, that's really the blueprint of how you go about using these new social media platforms, but also to express who you are as a human being. Because people want to see you authentically and genuinely working with not only what you do, but also with the customers. And Nancy, on a personal level, I think that's who she is. She embodies that approach.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the Skills and Games section to find and enable the PR Maven podcast flash briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.